I did a lot of research on the struggles that Gen Xers are having with midlife. Whether it was the amount of money that they had saved for retirement, whether it was the fact that going to the gym and eating the way you used to just doesn't work anymore and you can't lose weight, and what happened to your waistline, to dating over 40. So in my process of researching all of this, I came across a video on YouTube of this man talking about what it was like to date women in their 40s and 50s and his difficulties with dating us. I will make sure to include the link in the description bio because he pissed me off so bad. Oh my God. But then I started wondering, does he have a point? He was complaining about the fact that women, hey, we're at an age now where we're getting older. We're not getting younger. Our looks are going to go. He said our teeth are going to go. I am sorry. My teeth aren't going anywhere. There is no one in my family that's missing teeth like that. He says we're going to lose our teeth. Okay? So we're going to be toothless, overweight, old, and wrinkly, and we're not going to have any man wanting us. So in your 40s and 50s, kind of like take a step back and, don't be so hard and critical, and don't have a list, of everything you want and you expect and you deserve. And I know some people that have a list that's kind of ridiculous. So I was trying to be really open-minded with his point. And then he told the story about this girl that was okay looking that he used to know from work. And she got in a motorcycle accident. And she got destroyed from head to toe. And now she's overweight, completely out of shape. And she's looking at the bottom of the barrel because she's not going to have any options. No one's going to love her because she's completely messed up now. And maybe a few years ago, if she had settled and, gone out with someone like him, can we say bitter? Maybe if she had gone out with him, she wouldn't be alone right now and completely miserable. So this inspired me to get some real facts. I want to talk to people who are out there dating. I wanted to talk to a professional who is a love coach and who could give us, Generation X, some advice on dating, whether you're coming out of a divorce or you just haven't done it in a long time, or if you're a professional dater like me and been doing it my whole life. And I wanted to give you some options and some places to go and continue your journey of being single and 40. So this is a 3-part series. The first part, we're going to talk to an online dater. So stay tuned and welcome to my world, the world according to Lee. And don't forget to subscribe.
I'm 48 years old. I'm single, never married, no kids, a few animals running around the place. I'm looking for a nice guy on the crazy side of normal, I guess, crazy in a fun party way, not crazy in an insanity way. Somebody who's kind and funny and likes animals and values their family. You wouldn't think that would be so hard to find.
So how have you been meeting potential partners now?
My most common way to look to meet partners now has been online. I feel like kind of everybody defaults to that medium to meet one another. And I've had mixed luck with it, but probably better luck with that than just randomly trying to meet strangers in public or asking friends to hook me up with people that they know are single.
What sites have you been using? What are your top 3, or are you just on one?
No, I would say my top 3 sites that I frequent are Match.com, OkCupid, and then Tinder. Sad as it is, Tinder.
And have you found any potential partners?
The last couple of guys that I dated were guys that I met online, and those relationships lasted 6 to 8 months each. So, I mean, it did kind of work. It just wasn't true and everlasting love, but it did lead to a good short-term relationship. We just weren't meant for each other in the long term. So that's why I continue to go back to these forums, hoping that the next one will last even longer than those two did.
What's the biggest problem you're still having?
The biggest problem I'm still having with online dating is I find that a lot of the guys that I connect with want to chat online indefinitely. They're not really interested in meeting or spending time together in person, which is really frustrating. Um, Almost like they're looking for a pen pal. And I'm looking for someone to develop a connection with and share my life with. And so I want to meet and see each other face to face and see if we have that elusive thing that attracts two people to one another. I don't think you can see that without seeing, like, physically being with somebody. So
How long are these people actually texting or emailing until, like, when is the right time to all of a sudden meet in person? How long do you like to wait?
I don't know what other people think is the right time to meet in person, but if I'm chatting with someone and we feel like, we're both looking for a long-term relationship and our schedules are convenient, like if I'm chatting with them for 3 or 4 days, I'd like to go ahead and set up a date to meet for coffee, or let's take a walk or meet for a drink. It doesn't have to be a long dinner date. It just has to be something where we touch base. But I'm finding a lot of the guys are like, oh, that seems really quick. They want to text or talk for weeks on end, and it's not even like conversation that leads to getting to know each other. It's just a good morning, beautiful text, and then nothing. And then how's your day been? I mean, it's just all these non sequiturs. You can't really get to know one another with this kind of interaction. So
I would have never thought that, but you did say one of the bigger problems with it, people just really don't want to meet, which is surprising to me.
yeah, I think a lot of them want the attention and the excitement that goes along with meeting somebody and having a woman to flirt with, but they don't want any of the responsibility that comes with dating and sharing your time with somebody. And so they think they can maybe get their cake and eat it too with these apps. I'm not sure.
What about this active and healthy lifestyle that you can't stand? What is this feature that they talk about, and why don't you like it?
So it kind of bothers me, some people's descriptions, and you have to understand that I've been on these things for so long that I'm a little bit snotty and bitter about what I read. When people are like, I enjoyed laughter and having fun, like who doesn't enjoy laughter and having fun? When people put that they, like favor a healthy and active lifestyle, like I think we all strive for that at some, to some degree, but I'm also not looking to like wake up and run a marathon on a Sunday morning. I want somebody who can eat really healthy, but then also know when to treat themselves and go out for a fun dinner, or to take a long bike ride, but also know the day when you just need to Netflix for 8 hours and binge watch your favorite series. So the people who are like, I'm all active and healthy and watch what I eat and I'm always outside, it just seems a little bit much to me.
What about these people's profile pictures? Do they match up to what they're saying, or have you met them and they haven't matched up? I mean, that's obviously happened.
Yes, definitely. I've had dates where they have not matched up to what they posted their pictures to be. One in particular was a guy where I showed up at the restaurant and it looked like he sent his dad. It looked like one generation up from the guy who was in the photos, and it was not a good night to begin with because it was snowy and cold here in Chicago, and I made the date like a week before, and I didn't want to go that night. I just didn't want to leave the house. But I went because it's rude to cancel at the last minute, and then I walk into this restaurant, and the only guy standing there is easily 25 years older than me. And, I was not amused. He actually told me that he went to the same high school as my dad here in Chicago, and I asked him if he thought they might have graduated together, but he didn't think that was very funny. And did not want to admit that his pictures were at all dated.
So men do that just as much as I've heard women do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've heard that from guys too. When I show up, they're like, oh my God, you look like your pictures.
Right.
It's a shocking thing that I'm the age and weight and description that I give of myself. So, it's kind of unfortunate because I feel like there's somebody for everybody, or every kind of body type, or, fashion style, or just be who you are, because you're not going to have any success by being inauthentic online, because eventually you will have to meet and it's going to be revealed.
what happens if they are representing who they are? Like, for example, I tried Tinder a couple years ago for like 5 minutes
Yeah.
because what ended up happening was there was this hairy, half naked man with 12 cats on his shoulders, and he proceeded to say that he liked pussy. And I thought that that was probably exactly who he was in true
Yeah.
life. And then there was the guy who took a picture of himself saying good morning in the shower, and it was from the chest down.
Oh,
Right, they used a dick pic as the profile pic.
yeah.
So what about those people? Are they on there just to mess with people, or are they? Is that have you? I mean, do you know?
I have seen some outrageous pictures posted as people's profile pictures. I've seen a picture of just a nasty old foot, somebody who is in dire need of a pedicure, and that's all they posted was a close up of their foot. There was no face pic. There was no any. That was it. And at some point, like they sat down with a bunch of pictures and they scrolled through and they chose that as their best one. So it kind of makes you wonder what was if that was chosen, what was denied. So I kind of like that because I feel like it helps you to weed your garden for you. I've seen men in adult diapers. I've seen
Oh,
one guy look like he just had goiter surgery, and it was like a close up of his neck and his scar. So it makes it that's an easy choice. They're not misleading at all.
seriously, I need to talk to all the men out there right now. And you're sending pictures of your foot. Is that really putting your best foot forward? What is that? Let's not put pictures of our post-surgical goiters. It's not going to get you a date, especially with Natalie.
Definitely not. And also, I feel like there's millions to be made of writing people's profiles for them. Sitting down with them, getting to know them, not to write it in like a ghost fashion and make them out to sound like someone they're not, but some of them are so awkward, and the spelling errors and grammatical, mess ups, and then the poor pictures. Like, I just want to, some of them it's like, oh, you look like you're probably a really nice guy way down under all of this nonsense. Like, someone should intervene and create your profile with you, to help you put out something that's positive.
So we have grammatical errors. We have really bad ideas with profile pictures that are happening. What are like 3 more tips you can give somebody who is starting out online, or maybe online and not having what advice could you give the foot guy besides not posting the picture of your foot?
Not posting the picture of your foot would be number one. I'd have to highlight that and underscore it. And if you are going to opt for the foot pic and ignore my advice, then go get a picture first, because that thing needed to be cleaned up in a big way. The other thing that I've noticed is there's some anger going on from people's past relationships, and so you see them like, no liars, no cheaters, no bitches looking for money, and I don't know that any liars or cheaters or bitches looking for money are going to be like, oh, he said no liars, I guess I should just move on. Like, I don't really think that fields them out. So it just makes you seem really, really angry and like you have a ton of unresolved issues. Again, not putting your best foot forward. So I would sort of skim over that. And the other thing is when people focus on what they want in a partner too specifically, where they're like, I want a petite, fit, funny, smart, kind, well-educated, affluent girlfriend. Well, dude, what do you bring to the table? What do you have to offer? Why don't you talk about how you're going to attract that person instead of just your laundry list of your ideal woman,
Very good advice. Some real advice. What was your best date you ever had on one of these? Even if it turned out to be a friendship, what was the best?
To say my most unusual best date was one. This is modern times. I'm going to be completely frank here, but the guy and I had been chatting for about a week, and we really seemed to have a nice connection, and we wanted to get together. And he's like, I know this sounds crazy, but I like to stay clean and protected. And so for our first date, we went to a public health center, and he paid for STD screenings for both of us. But you know what? It actually wasn't a bad time. Like we stopped at Starbucks and got a coffee, and then we had to fill out this questionnaire together, and that kind of like helped us to get to know one another. And it was awkward, and so it was hilarious at the same time. And then we went out for pancakes afterwards, and then 2 weeks later we got our results and found out that we were both good to go. And yeah, ended up dating for 8 months. We were good to go. So I just thought that was like honest but funny and real, and it wasn't, it could have been weird, but he just made it fun, and it was an adventure.
That's actually an amazing thing to do with somebody, like that you could be open, and I mean, it's safe, it's healthy, like, but somehow it's always like, oh my gosh, you know.
But that's what I loved. What I loved about that date was that he was taking something that could be taboo, but that was really in the best interest of both of us, and putting it up front and saying, you know, let's be safe and let's be healthy, and then let's have fun. And I thought that was a great way to start off.
And are you friends with this person still?
Yeah.
That's
we didn't
cool.
work out as boyfriend and girlfriend, but we've maintained a friendship, so that's important to me. Yeah.
What about your worst date you've ever experienced meeting someone online?
My worst date from online dating is really, it's hard to narrow down, which is a sad statement. I have got quite a few good stories, but or bad stories, I guess. Perhaps my favorite is the date that lasted 28 minutes from start to finish. I arrived at the restaurant and we sat down and ordered a drink, and the guy proceeded to, he used my name way too much and too often. So I felt like I was being sold some sort of like a lemon of a car. And then he just rapid fire questions at me. He wanted to know if I'd ever been to Montana, if I'd ever been jet skiing, if I like sports, but these are all coming like one after the other. I could hardly answer before he was hitting me with the next question, and it just felt like a terrible pop quiz, you know. And halfway through this litany of questions, he asked me if I was someone who could meet someone and know if I was attracted to them right away, and I said yes, I am definitely that person. I said, do you feel like that? And he said, yeah. And I said, great. So how do you feel like this is going? And he said, well, I'm very pleased. I think it's going very well. And he said, how about you? And I was in the midst of saying, you know, you're probably a really great guy, but I'm just not feeling that connection. And he's like, okay, well, you're free to go. So he dismissed me. He told me I was free to finish my glass of wine and leave. And part of me was like, you don't get to tell me like to leave, but I wanted to leave. And so really it was not a bad suggestion to take. And so I, you know, took a few sips of my wine and said goodbye and walked out. And the time between getting dropped off by my Uber and getting picked up by the next Uber was 28 minutes.
What would you compare dating at our age now, over 40? What would you compare it to?
So I would compare dating over 40 to, I don't know, Dante's Seventh Circle of Hell. This is what I can best equate it to. It's sort of like shopping for real estate. It's sort of like looking for property, but there's not very much on the market, and nothing looks like the pictures that are posted. And, you know, something looks like it's got beautiful light, but then you go to see it and it's in a shitty neighborhood. Like everything's just a little bit one-off from what it's supposed to look like. That's what I think online dating is like for everyone, but especially over 40.
That is good and terrifying to know. So why do you keep doing it? Why do you keep going back?
You know, I think I keep going back because I'm a glutton for punishment. I think that finding love, and as awkward as this process tends to be in modern times, I still feel like this is maybe the best way to go about it. We'll see if I change my mind in a few more dates, but I also think that it makes for great stories. I mean, I've gone out and you know, of course I'm glamorizing the worst because they're the funniest, but I've gone on plenty of dates where the person was really interesting and we shared a nice evening together and we knew that we weren't ever going to see each other again, but it wasn't bad. you know? And I'm always about meeting new people. So, if nothing else, maybe I make a new friend, and I always end up with good stories to tell at parties that entertain all my married and dating friends and family. They don't believe any of this is true, but it is.
You help marriages stay together.
Absolutely. On one of my terrible dates, the guy excused himself to hit the can, literally. That's what he told me. And then yelled for the waiter to bring me a to-go box because apparently he was done even though I wasn't. And I caught sight of the couple sitting next to us, and the look of horror on their face. It was a husband and wife. And, she just looked at me and she's like, "Are you on a date?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is what dating looks like now."
Wow, Dante's hell. Okay. Lastly, what is your best advice to all of us trying to date over 40?
My best advice would be to be clear about what you want and don't accept anything less than that. I think as adults, we've culled from our past experiences what works for us and what doesn't, and there can be a tendency to feel desperate or like you might want to compromise, but to really not do that on those things that are really important to you. And then just buckle up and have a sense of humor about the whole thing. It's going to be a wild ride.
Thank you so much, Natalie. I want to do a special service announcement right now because of the coronavirus. This is a perfect opportunity to start taking some time for yourself, to go online and meet new people if that's what you're looking to do, and start those kinds of relationships. We are social distancing people, so going out and getting intimate with strangers or whatever you like to do probably isn't a good idea, and you won't be able to do it for much longer. No. So during this contagious time, let's use laughter. It's contagious. It also is the best medicine. It's also a perfect time to subscribe to my channel. Everyone's welcome in my world. How easy it would be right now to dismiss somebody without hurting their feelings. If you didn't like them on the date, all you have to do is cough and say, "I'm having trouble breathing and I just don't feel very good." The new coronavirus pickup line. You take my breath away.